actually. Let me go back from being live to being serious. Wait a minute. What am I going to show here? Is that what you're doing, PG?
I'm live now.
All right, thank you. All right, hey guys, it's me, Trip60 here, aka Trip, and Politics Gaming, aka PG here, and this is our new podcast, Real Talk with PG and me. So what we're talking about today is going to be a couple different issues that we're seeing today. First things first, one thing that's in the news is obviously Russia. That's a huge thing that we keep seeing all since the election has ended in November. And I remember back in November when this first happened, it really annoyed the crap out of me. When I started seeing that people were going to do recounts over Russian hacking of the election and they found out that no votes were changed, that should have been the end of it there. But here we are 2 years later, and we're still having this type of stuff. And Manafort is now going down with a trial. And Rob Mueller apparently has responded to this. So as you can see here, I'm at Fox News, but we have several things open right now. And I'm going to see if I'm live. Am I live? I don't know. Am I live?
No, you are not. I'm watching your channel right now. I'm live, though. At least.
Oh, you're live. Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad.
so I recorded all of that, so.
It says YouTube is not working.
That sucks. Well, since everyone's already watching my end of the stream, what is going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and just as my friend Trip said, we're going to be doing this podcast, I believe, was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever? And
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
All right, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah, Eastern.
So everyone, I just want you to go subscribe to his channel so you can actually catch his end of the stream, just in case I can't really stream. But I'm going to go ahead and link that into the chat as of now. So go ahead and go to that link that I'm posting in right now. Well, he's trying to figure out what's going on.
Yep, I see what the heck's going on here. It's just done something stupid with the stream key. So let me put the stream key down. Yeah, I don't want the stream key at all. And there shouldn't be anything else, right? So, yep, there we go.
And first days aren't perfect.
Okay. I think we're gonna go live in about 10 seconds on my end. Sorry.
Hell yeah,
guys. So all right, it worked. Hey guys, I am now officially live. You can kind of see my OBS studio. I'm so sorry if you guys couldn't see that beforehand. Yeah, here we go. It's starting. I'm so sorry, guys.
That's embarrassing.
You saying it's embarrassing is not going to make it much better. It's not recorded.
I mean, I have a trashier channel, so.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get it started, guys. So sorry, what you missed here is basically me doing a slight introduction. Welcome to our first podcast. This is the Real Talk News with me, Trip, and PG, who's Politics Gaming, has a big YouTube channel. PG, introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and as he said, I have a slightly bigger channel than him. 1,300 subscribers to 0 subscribers is kind of a big difference. So, yeah, that's just about it. Can't really say a lot about myself.
This is going to be a right-wing type of podcast, although both of us aren't necessarily what you would call a traditional type of right-wing.
I wouldn't say I'm right-wing. I try to call myself Republican, and then everyone else. I'm a right-leaning centrist. That's what I would like to call myself. I would have to disappoint one of my patrons by saying that, but I'm going to have to say it.
Yeah, okay. Well, on the other hand, I'm on the right wing. I guess he'll just be in the center right, which is still the right wing, but whatever. Whatever on that one. So yeah, this is a new podcast between me and him. We're going to be doing all types of news, all types of content over the next coming months. We're going to be going live on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Eastern Standard Time, if you don't know, which is basically run on the time zone and stuff.
Some of your mic is starting to cut out on my end, so.
Yes, your internet's lagging, sir.
Yeah, I know. Both of us are lagging. I don't
know. You say both of us, I'm not lagging out. That's just
Hell yeah.
So short story short. this is going to be a nice and little interesting live stream. We're going to start talking about Russia. Now, first thing first, I already got into this. We're going a little bit late than I would have more expected because I had to restart the intro to this entire thing. But let's speed it up here. We're going into the Russian investigation, which actually, shockingly, it started back during the election campaign back in 2016. It was not known to the American people that there was investigation into Russian meddling in the election, but it started way back in 2016. Now we started hearing about this as a result of Hillary Clinton losing the election. I think if she had won the election, we wouldn't have heard anything about this.
I honestly think that too.
And you know what's so interesting is during the campaign they said that it was nothing. They said it couldn't affect anything. But when she lost, to get a recount in several states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, they started saying about Russian hacking, Russian investigations, and blah blah blah. And that led to a lot of things that got to, I think the Supreme Court was, well, I don't think they went all the way to the Supreme Court with it, but they started basically doing more and more recounts in several states before they basically were told that, hey, this should be ended by a judge.
Jill Stein was the one that sponsored a recount in Wisconsin.
Yep, and that actually cost her entire reputation.
Yep.
And so here we are 2 years later. Several people have been bankrupted. Michael Flynn's career has been ended. Manafort is in solitary confinement. Donald Trump is under Well, let's not make him.
He himself is not under investigation, but
technically.
So people like Paul Manafort, people who are doing some shady stuff in the Trump campaign, they're the ones that are under investigation, even indicted.
And you know what's so interesting is there was something that was just here. Oh yeah, it says Mueller responds to Trump lawyer's request. Oh, click anywhere for a window to close. Well, I'm glad there's a video. It's Brent Baer. I didn't want that. I wanted an article. Sorry. Screw Fox News. So welcome to my Twitter. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
PG?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Went silent. Okay.
No, I'm just listening to you.
Yeah. So first things first, I was trying to look at something from Fox News and it actually is a video. Sometimes that does happen where you're actually looking at videos and it becomes something else.
Death of a Nation. Can we save America a second time? I'm watching your end of the stream. It's pretty interesting. I don't know. It
shouldn't be.
Hell yeah. Yeah, your computer's starting to mess up, isn't it? I don't know. My opinion on it is that... Huh?
Well, news after this about Ohio State. I have to get to that. That's quite big, actually.
You okay there? Your mic keeps cutting out. Do you think Trump will win re-election? Because I think he will.
I think you just lagged out massively.
Yeah, I know. I can hear that. Is it okay now?
Yeah, sir. I don't know what's with your internet because you just lagged out.
My internet is honestly fine. I mean, it's...
You sure?
Yeah. Let me get out of a couple of... I almost X'd out of Discord for a second.
Okay, while you do that, I'm going to cover some new breaking news. So I'm an Ohio State student. If you cannot tell from the shirt that I'm repping right here, maybe you can. I'm an Ohio State student, and it says here, Ohio State coach Urban Meyer is put on leave amid abuse probe of fired assistant. Now, this assistant was fired for sexual assault just I think a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago. So now it says, and actually, this is actually an ongoing scandal with the athletics department of Ohio State University, where people like Jim Jordan, Urban Meyer, this assistant, and also a former doctor, I think about 10 or so years ago, who apparently abused several wrestlers, several females, several males as well. It's a continuing process that seems like a massive sexual assault scandal that just keeps growing. And just as recently as well, the campus destroyed its sexual harassment center. So this is kind of a major scandal for Ohio State University that continues to grow. We'll keep our eye on that. We'll keep you guys. Oh my goodness! Look at these pictures. These are not good pictures. So let's read about this here. It says text message: I have obtained an exclusive interview with the victim. Another information I've learned shows Ohio State coach Urban Meyer knew in 2015 of domestic abuse allegations against a member of his coaching staff, yet he did nothing. That's what it's basically trying to say. Okay, so
damn, that's crazy.
That Yeah, this might be just like what happened in Penn State just about 6 or 8,
Do
almost
you go
7 years
to
ago now.
Ohio State?
I do go to Ohio State. I'm a Buckeye.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a follower of I'm actually not much of a follower of stuff like football and college state teams and stuff like that. So I mean, that's actually
Yeah.
pretty interesting that, especially those pictures, because I'm actually watching it from my end.
Yeah. So back to the regularly scheduled program. That's just breaking news that just happened right now. We just happened. I didn't see that come. That's huge news in the sports world if you didn't know, because Ohio State is a massive football powerhouse. I think they won a championship just about 3 years ago. So that's a huge thing because he's gotten multiple titles, and if he's involved in this is gonna hurt Ohio State massively, just like it did Penn State. Penn
Mm-hmm.
State just now recovered, and there's a video that's automatically playing. All right, so here we have an article. It says the federal judge presiding over the fraud trial. I can't talk. Of the ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort reboot. Special counsel Robert Mueller's team's group. This is a run-on sentence here. Like, can they shorten this? Yeah, I'm gonna read this real quick to myself and then just summarize it while you say something. Are you saying something? Go on.
No, I'm listening.
Your co-host. Gotta.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What is your opinion on, say, Robert Mueller and his entire investigation?
I think it's an entire sham, honestly. I think it's just a complete reason to try and say, oh, yeah, well, I lost the election, so we're going to completely say, oh, yeah, well, the election was rigged whenever a couple of days earlier. And I mean, I've seen videos of this, of Barack Obama saying, like, he's whining before the race is even over toward Donald Trump when.
And
like,
you know what? You just said something. I'm gonna have to search that up. You continue though.
No, I mean, there's a video of it. I mean, I saw a video where Barack Obama was like on the Rose Garden. I think there was a world leader or something like that was talking, that he was meeting with or something like that before the election, and Barack Obama actually said, "Well, the whining is already starting before the race is even over," and he probably didn't say it exactly like that, but
He did.
yeah, and so
We're gonna play that clip right now.
all right.
I hope this is fully recorded like this. I hope so.
Yeah, watch out for that copyright strike.
It's WhiteHouse.gov.
When it's done, historically,
Yeah, watch out for that copyright strike.
regardless of party,
WhiteHouse.gov.
the person who loses the election congratulates the winner, reaffirms our democracy, and we move forward. That's how democracy survives, because we recognize that.
He's taking a long time to say a lot of nothing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Our institutions.
So, in a short amount of time, we've seen the Democrats continually. Oh, is he getting close to it?
Probably might want to start skipping.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Obama. He always pretty low sound. Yeah, I know. That's talking to someone on my other end. Some of them are asking some questions.
Oh, some of them are asking questions. What questions?
Well, one of the questions was, do you think Trump will win re-election? Because I think he will. That was from Master Ninja.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in about 10 minutes. Hold on that idea. We're gonna get to that toward the end of this, because that's actually the final topic for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're seeing, Barack Obama talks way too damn much. And now we're gonna get restricted because I just said damn. But
I've said it several times. I haven't gotten restricted. So.
All right, so back to the judge. We've seen that the judge himself seems to think along the lines that this is a witch hunt, just like most people, just like even Barack Obama himself said. this election cannot be rigged. He thinks his entire investigation is a sham. He thinks Paul Manafort being arrested and treated in the manner he is absolutely irrelevant to this manner of the investigation that's supposed to be about Trump collusion. And Trump collusion is not a crime. Collusion is not a legal crime. Now, I did hear in I think some leftists say, I think just last night, I think it was on Tucker Carlson or something like that, where it's not collusion but conspiracy that they're going to charge people on. And so far, we haven't saw any evidence of conspiracy either. So it's been about 2 years since the investigation typically really started. And there was a Russian dossier which is built on fake lies and a British spy who is completely discredited. And now this judge himself has a major quote, as you can see on the screen right now. It says, "Enough is enough. We don't convict people because they have a lot of money and throw it around." This is in regards to the allegations that Manafort is laundering money through having multiple overseas bank accounts. He lives lavishly, things like that. There's been connections to the Ukrainian government. And at that time, the Ukrainian government was technically really tied to Putin, really close to Putin. But it's not necessarily a Russian government. They still were Ukraine. So it's not actually tied to the Ukraine. With that said, it appears that this judge is more likely to actually put an end to the investigation of Robert Mueller. Well, he's going to end the investigation of Manafort, it looks like. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen right here. What do you think?
I've kind of talked about it, and I've actually talked about it with a couple of people about, Paul Manafort. I think the only reason they even are striking gold with him is, for one, he had ties to Viktor Yanukovych. Two, he had ties to Vladimir Putin, I believe. And so, and then for three, he worked with the Trump campaign. So I think it's just another reason for them to say, oh my God, this is a way for us to finally impeach Donald Trump and stuff like that. Because I think that's the whole end game of all of these people, is that it's just to impeach Donald Trump. And that's why I honestly don't trust the entire investigation. And I've looked up the charges against Paul Manafort and stuff like that. Several of them have nothing to do with Russian involvement in the campaign, which, I believe money laundering doesn't even have to do with it. I think that's just something else that he's doing on the side.
Is Tripster an African American? Literally, someone asked.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't say anything though.
Continue though.
But you get what I mean. That it's just. I think it's just complete exactly bull that, just these people are just oh my God, huh?
I'm on Yahoo News right now. If you can look at it, it says, if ex-FBI agent, Trump got elected thanks to Russia. So that's the entire point of this entire Russian investigation, to delegitimize the 2016 election on behalf of the leftist people who now suffer from a literal mental illness called Trump derangement syndrome. That's hilarious. That's actually
there's a lot of people that are actually getting diagnosed with that. I actually saw that on a Fox News report.
It's absolutely a legitimate mental illness with these people. Because look at this ex-FBI agent says Trump got elected thanks to Russia. Now, we've saw several investigations, several recounts in many of the major states that he won, where he got more votes and Hillary got less for more fraud. Somehow the actual votes of the American people in this election, because Russia spent $30,000 on several advertisements, some of them supporting Black Lives Matter, not even Donald Trump. I don't think that has anything to do with Donald Trump, but Black Lives Matter, which during 2016 was rioting in the streets and burning down cities. So if we go through this,
don't forget in 2017, whenever they were trying to burn down Washington during the inauguration.
I thought he would be assassinated.
I was waiting. Honestly,
I was scared. I was so scared. I was him walking. I'm like, get back in the car, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, did you notice how many times he got in the car, then got out of the car, and then got in the car? That was just weird to me. I was watching the whole inauguration. I watched the entire thing from noon all the way to 7:00, and it was just the weirdest thing.
Oh yes, it was the weirdest thing.
Someone in my chat said, "No offense, but you guys are stating the obvious." from what we were talking about earlier.
So my communist, you may have just seen that. You may have just someone else just messaged me. I don't know who that is that just messaged me, but I'm gonna look at your CNN article and we're gonna talk about specifically Justin Trudeau. Now, it's on me for not having that open. I should have had that open to begin with. My bad, but it's now open. So it says Justin Trudeau is in trouble, but he can fix that. Now, first and foremost, the reason Justin Trudeau is in trouble, no, CNN, you're not getting any money from me. I'll keep my ad block on for you. Thank you very much. Oh, you're not showing me anything? Well, screw you then. I don't need to see your crap.
I have ad block on, and I mean,
It's gonna play an auto video, isn't it? Oh no, auto videos are the worst.
Ooh.
So I'm ready to click pause just before it loads, if it loads at all. CNN's website is trash, apparently. Oh, sure, I accept.
Speaking of that, before we start talking about Canada, I mean, I did see another story today about the Mueller probe. Donald Trump actually went on a tweet rant today that basically said,
we can bring that up. Trump Twitter easily. I'm following this. I follow a lot of people.
Yeah, he kind of said it along the lines of basically saying, like, well, like it's. He didn't say like it must end, but he said it has to end or something like that. I forgot the exact words. Yeah, it should end. He said it should end. Which
screen right now, FBI agent Peter Strzok. I wish I could do a Trump impersonation. Should have
FBI agent Peter Strzok. I'm kidding. Go on.
Oh God, on the Mueller team, should have recused himself on day one. He was out. He was out to stop the election of Donald Trump. I don't think that was written by Donald Trump, actually. He doesn't refer to himself in third person like that, does he? He needed an insurance policy. Those are illegal and improper goals. I don't think he wrote this one. I don't think he wrote these. Sometimes some people go on his account and write his stuff. I don't think he wrote these. I think it was his handler that wrote this one. Doesn't seem like he would write it like this.
Why do you think that?
Well, look at it. He needed an insurance policy. Those are illegal and improper goals trying to influence the election. He should have never, ever been allowed to remain in the FBI.
If there's someone that can actually talk in a Trump type of way, if there's a second person that can actually do that, I am going to literally end my life. Like, that's actually one of the awesomest talents that anyone would ever have, is for them to tweet in a way that Donald Trump, that is completely similar to what Donald Trump does.
Well, let's finish his tweet. We haven't gotten to the more crazy part yet, or the more interesting part, rather. This is a real issue. It won't go into the Mueller report because Mueller is going to protect these guys. Mueller has an interest in creating the illusion of objectivity around his investigation. Alan Dershowitz, he was quoting Alan Dershowitz. Oh, he did. Okay, he was quoting someone. So that was a quote of Alan Dershowitz, a lawyer who is typically actually unbiased. I think Alan Dershowitz is actually more of a leftist lawyer, but under Trump, because of the ridiculousness of the corruption he's seeing in the FBI, he's tending to agree more with Donald Trump in this. So Donald Trump's response to this is a terrible situation, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt. Yeah, rigged. The rigged witch hunt right now before he continues to stay in our country any further. Bob Mueller is totally conflicted, and his 17 angry Democrats that are doing his dirty work are a disgrace to the USA. Paul Manafort worked and many other highly prominent and respected political leaders. He worked for me for a very short time. Why didn't the government tell me that he was under investigation? These old charges have nothing to do with collusion. It's a hoax. Russian collusion with the Trump campaign, one of the most successful in history, which is true, is a total hoax. The Democrats paid for the phony and discredited dossier, which was, along with Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and his lover, the lovely Lisa Page, used to begin the witch hunt. Wow, disgraceful. Wow, he continues on further an hour later. Looking back on history, who was treated worse? Alfonso Capone. Wow. All right. All right. He
Jesus.
Really went there. Legendary mob boss and killer and public enemy number one, or Paul Manafort, the political operative operative, and Reagan and Dole Darling now serving solitary confinement.
I like the guy. I like the
Long
guy, but I have no idea what he talks about sometimes. Sometimes he just completely loses me.
Although convicted of nothing, where is the Russia collusion? We already had the smoking gun about a campaign getting dirt on their opponent. It was Hillary Clinton. How is it okay for Hillary Clinton proactively seek dirt from the Russians, but the Trump campaign met at the Russian request, and that is bad? Mark Tyson of the Washington Post. So that was his entire rant for the day. He gets one of those every day. Basically,
Speaking
Donald
of
Trump
dirt,
feels.
well, honestly, speaking of dirt, I mean that grab him by the P tape. You know, you remember that? Like when the Access Hollywood tape.
Trying to monetize the content.
Well, yeah. That's why I said P.
No. It does phrases, not just words.
Whatever. So what my point is that, like, I mean, from what I remember, I think that was actually like collaborated between like the Clinton campaign and the media. So, like, I mean, wouldn't that still be like actively trying to seek dirt on the other candidate by, you know, like collaborating with other like giants, you know?
We're gonna go over. We're gonna go way over in this time period. You just went into something. You went off into the you
Yeah.
crossed the Rubicon.
How about you be quiet?
Oh really?
Got about 1 minute. My
got
timer's on
longer than
26
that.
minutes.
Yeah, we got more. We got more time actually. We have to go over because now you just you crossed the Rubicon. You talked about Hillary Clinton, and there's so much you can say about Hillary Clinton and dirt on Hillary Clinton. As a matter of fact, we don't have time for that. We're gonna talk about the dirt. No, more than just Benghazi.
I know. All right, sorry for going on a tangent. Go ahead and say what you were about to say.
Yeah, we have got to talk about Justin Trudeau and all the dirt that's surrounding him. So his popularity is in the tanks right now. He's had a lot of trouble ever since he's been elected. He's kind of like the John F. Kennedy / Barack Obama of Canada. He started off like JFK, a new leader meant to re-energize the nation after the steady but weak leadership of Stephen Harper. Maybe I pronounced his name wrong.
Stephen Harper.
Stephen
Harper.
You sure it's Stephen because it's spelled Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's what it was because I remember whenever he was in power. Because I remember back in 2014, whenever I monitored that whole election, I believe it is Stephen Harper.
2015.
Oh, 2015? I thought it was 14.
No, because that's why there's an election going on right now in 2019. So there's an election in Canada in 2019. 4 years ago, Justin Trudeau made many big promises. He would promise a major stimulus package to restart the economy, which had been slowed down in the year 2015 due to lower oil prices. So because oil prices fell a lot during the summer of 2015 and 2014, Justin Trudeau basically ran on re-energizing the economy, legalizing weed, rebuilding infrastructure, and liberating the cities like Vancouver, which were being bought up by Chinese people. Now, it turns out when Trudeau came in office, he would do things, but he hasn't done what he promised at all. Similar to Barack Obama, he promised a giant infrastructure stimulus package that hasn't really materialized. And as a reason, he's been boggled down by multiple corruption scandals. He's been found to say that he thinks that China is good. He loves China. He thinks that sometimes, I think he actually has glorified Cuba and Castro on various occasions.
Isn't he isn't he the son of Fidel Castro? What? I don't know. I've seen like conspiracy theories about that.
He's the son of a famous prime minister of Canada, not Castro.
Yeah, I know. I just remember seeing pictures of his mom and Fidel Castro. You know, spooky.
Well, that's because his father was a prime minister.
Mm-hmm. 70s, I believe.
And he was actually very leftist prime minister during the 70s. He was
Pierre Trudeau, that was his name.
Yeah, Pierre Trudeau was his name, but he wasn't very successful. He's just very popular for some reason in Canada. Don't ask me. He just is.
That's probably the only reason that Justin even got elected is because of his name.
That plus he promised weed. He's a former ski teacher turned prime minister.
Oof.
Yes, and recently he's had multiple scandals. He talks down to people who don't get his agenda, and at the same time, he believes in people kind, not mankind. He gave about $1 million or $10 million, something around there, a lot of money to a terrorist who I think went on to just rejoin terrorism again soon after being freed and given the $1 million by the government of Canada. And that prisoner was actually a prisoner of Guantanamo Bay, and he settled $1 million out of court, not through the court, out of court.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave $1 million to a terrorist. All these things have actually decreased the popularity of Justin Trudeau. He said he would legalize weed in his first year. We're now in his third year, and he just now did it. So right
He
before the
finally did
election,
it?
I think he recently just did it. Yeah,
I don't
because there's a giant
I don't remember it.
IPO. Yeah, they didn't cover it in the news, but there's going to be a gigantic IPO of this cannabis corporation, which is going to be in the news pretty soon as well. It's huge. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge IPO apparently about a major multinational cannabis corporation being set up, but that's because it's legalized in Canada now. So he just now fulfilled that one promise. And this article talks about the multiple problems that have occurred, multiple terrorist attacks that hadn't happened before, the increase in the popularity of the right in places like Toronto have been really scary. And at the same time, the more populist movements in Canada have actually weakened Justin Trudeau's hold as a centristic neoliberal. And also, he continues to feud with Donald Trump, and also his eyebrow fell off too.
Oof.
This guy's falling apart one part at a time. Now his popularity went from high of like 70% to like I think he's at 40% or below Donald Trump, which is
So,
absolutely impressive.
Summarized, do you think he's going to win the 2019 election?
Absolutely not, because his party, I think, just lost all of Ontario. So, and that was a major part of his party's base. To lose Ontario like that, it's kind of bad right before the election. He may have legalized weed, but all this
That's
corruption,
not going to win you an election.
yeah, especially in the age of Donald Trump, you can never know, because just like Miss May ran for that election in 2017, you never know what's really going to happen, like where the populist movement's going to go. And Justin Trudeau is out of touch. He's like Barack Obama. His policies are not popular in Canada, and at the same time, they're not working right now. In 2016, the economy did pick up, but it really has slowed down since then. I think one of the major problems with his economy is I think full-time employment has actually been down in recent years in Canada, not up. While part-time employment is where most of his jobs are coming up. So it's like a lot of the criticisms that people directed at Barack Obama are actually really true when it comes to Justin Trudeau, who appears to be making a mess of things with the trade policy with the USA, and that's not good as well. And at the same time, he's also appeasing things like China, Cuba, etc., which is not very popular.
One of my followers said lobster rebellion will break Canada.
Yes, indeed.
So is this where we're gonna go ahead and cut it off?
Oh, absolutely not. We have one more thing to do. As a matter of fact, we're talking about Ocasio-Cortez and the Democrats and Republicans. We have about 5
don't
minutes.
even get me started.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go right through this really quickly. Short story short, the Democrats think they're gonna win this election. They're really fooling themselves. I just don't see it. Large swaths of the nation are not socialist.
The Democrats are going to have a civil war way before they get a united party, honestly. And
the Republicans had a civil war, and they still were able to take over the House.
Yeah,
it hurt them in 2012.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, we have just all of this.
It also doesn't hurt that America is more of a right-wing country.
Yeah, America's more of a right-wing country, and especially this new generation. I think it's more split among the younger people. But at the same time, just the progressive wing, such as people like, Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio,
Cortez.
Ocasio-Cortez, and I don't know.
Cortez.
So people like that, they're just sitting there, and especially Alexandria, she's just, pushing for all of this stuff. She's saying Medicare for all. She's saying impeach Donald Trump. Like, I mean, it's basically for sure that she's going to win New York 14.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. It's completely. That's like a plus 50 Democratic district.
Well, you're assuming that there is not going to be an establishment Democrat takeover. The Democrats are quite corrupt. Remember, they stopped Bernie and put in Hillary.
Yeah, but I mean, she already won the nomination. And plus,
Yeah,
that entire area
that
New York 14 is covering Brooklyn and Queens.
Oh yeah, it's hipster
So,
city in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much for certain she's going to win New York 14.
She's had a lot of big issues, and the thing is, Brooklyn's not very poor.
It may be closer than it usually is because of just kind of what kind of Democrat she is. But nonetheless, I would root for her to win New York 14 because
you just want to have her there so that we can run against that type of narrative in the.
No. I'm just going from a realistic perspective because just looking at the district, the past elections that have been won there, stuff like that. I mean, that district's been Democrat for a very long time. And I would have to do a little bit of research on how long it's been Democratic.
At least 20 years.
Yeah, at least 20 years. That it's just, for certain that New York 14 will still go blue. Maybe by a closer margin this election cycle. But in my prediction, I still believe she's going to win.
Yeah, I believe that. But at the same time, again, you can't. You never know if a Democrat might get stupid, because they can be stupid.
Well, I mean, that's not saying she already is.
What?
That's not saying Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not already stupid.
Oh, she's
very.
What's really amazing about that is that how does she go to Boston University, major in international relations and economics, and somehow know nothing?
No, she lied about economics. Like she like had to pay one of the nerds to do her homework or something like that. She didn't even listen in economics.
I'm sure, because I mean, she was like, the reason unemployment is so low is because 2 people work 2 jobs. Now everyone's working 2 jobs. Therefore, unemployment is lower, but it's still actually really high. It's just that people are working 2 jobs.
Yeah, she has no idea what she's talking about. It's like hilariously cringeful that someone like that.
Israel is absolutely intruding on Palestine's land.
Oh, how are boy.
They doing that? Oh, I don't know. I'm not really an expert at this. Meanwhile, has a degree in international relations and is running in a Jewish-controlled district. Like, okay.
I mean,
you took a stance and then you backed away from it. You can't do that.
Speaking of that, I mean, I see someone in your chat room talking about Bernie Sanders. It's like
I should get my phone on and see that actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's like I mean, Bernie Sanders. Since we're talking about democratic socialism and stuff like that, Bernie Sanders proposed a Medicare for All plan, which would cost $32.7 trillion over the next 10 years.
That's ridiculous.
I personally am sort of a supporter for something like that, but at the same time, we cannot afford that stuff right now. $21.3 trillion in debt right now. Last time I checked.
We can never afford that. We can never afford
yeah,
like that.
And I think another reason we can't afford it is because, I mean, you're trying to cover 320 million people. I mean, the reason Canada, Germany, stuff like that.
What's uncovered is actually we have a better healthcare system in terms of quality than they do.
But I mean, we have a better healthcare system compared to Canada and the United Kingdom.
Ration medicine over there. If you get sick, they might decide it's time for you to die, or if your kid is sick, they might decide it's time for your kid to die.
Don't they have euthanasia legalized?
I don't know. Well, They basically, I mean, if it's not legalized in England, I know they have death panels where they actually. I think they recently reversed the death panels, but they definitely
What
had
is a death
panels
panel?
in England. A death panel is what people thought Obamacare would bring.
Oh, those crazy people that followed what Sarah Palin said.
Well, a death panel does exist in some nations. A death panel is basically where people are like, okay, should this person decide to live? So we give them the resources they need to live at the great cost to the state, or should we decide that their life should end because maybe they're just not worth it to us? And there was this baby just last year that they decided was not worth living anymore. They decided that they weren't going to save him. They were going to take him off life support. So the parents made it to America, and he got the life-saving surgery that he needed. So, you know, they do have death panels there. And then over there, they also have rationing in medicines. They cancel surgeries left and right. I think last year or this year even, they canceled about like, was it 500,000 or no, 50,000? I think 50,000 surgeries were canceled in January. Yeah, there's a wait list for surgeries there too. It's not good. Not good over there in England or Canada as well. But yeah.
All right.
Short story short, Justin Trudeau is in trouble. Ocasio-Cortez might win, but it's going to be tougher for her to win this election.
Going to be tougher, but it's pretty. I'm betting on her winning, honestly.
And Democrats might have a more tougher time.
Hey, hang on. I actually may have to head out a little early. So.
Yeah, okay.
I'm actually going to be right back.
Okay, while he is gone, I'm going to finish up on this episode here. So, like I was going to say, the Democrats might not actually have a blue wave as they were forecasting that they're going to have. We're not going to exactly see a massive blue wave. What we're going to end up seeing is maybe a blue pond. And actually, I think we might see a red tsunami. It can go either way. It depends on whether or not the Trump voters turn out. And they have a history of turning out in the last 6 years. So we'll see. I don't think the Democrats necessarily have the energy anymore. Though you go on Yahoo, you go on CNN, you go on Twitter, they definitely have a lot of energy to harass people, crowd people. And that's in their cities when they have a giant majority. The thing is, Trump didn't win because of the city voters. And I think he's making a lot of inroads in a lot of cities in the right spots, like in Michigan, in Ohio, in Indiana, in Iowa, Florida. The list goes on. And I think he's probably won over a lot of people in Texas and Utah. Definitely Utah, because I remember Mitt Romney couldn't even get a major majority in his state. So I think he's winning over a lot of people that people were thinking were a little bit weak. That might mean that the Republican base is going to be stronger this election than even the last one. With that said, it's time to finish this episode with a little thought to our favorite communist, Comrade Watermelon. If he's watching this, let's see what he has to say here. All right, so I had him read an article. And I'm just going to probably delete that thing right here. That does not work. All right, well, we're going to just see it like this. And you're going to see everything on my screen. Maybe. I hope not. Wish there's a way to... There probably is a way. Nope. There. Okay. Short story short, we're going to read this and you're going to see what he has to say. This is about the trade policy of Donald Trump and possibly the effects it has on the average American. And amazing, we've gone a bit over, but it's still not an hour. So let me read this real quick. So the central point of this article is that Trump's tariffs have contributed to price hikes and inflation. They give the specific example of Coca-Cola, but their reference to the CPI later tells me that they mean to tell us that Trump's tariffs are more than just slightly boosting the price of aluminum can. I think they're accelerated a bit of inflation we're going through right now is largely due to Trump policies regarding raw materials and heavy industrial products coming from foreign countries, and it is a very, very good example of cost push inflation. This is almost a bad thing for the larger economy. Trump's policies might cost him